Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another tutorial. It's me IJ and I'm back with a new tutorial. On today's tutorial we are going to DIY this beautiful gown that is now raining. That is what we are going to DIY. It's so simple to achieve. If you are today is your first time of seeing this channel, you are welcome. My old and new subscribers, I give you guys a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed, consider subscribing. Subscription is free. Hit on the notification bell that whenever I upload, you will be the first to be notified. So guys, let us get into today's tutorial. We are going to DIY a gown with a corset cup and a yoke, and on the front part of it is going to have a Basque waistline, and also is going to have a crisscross draping on the front. As you can see, the gown we are going to DIY is right behind me on the screen. This is the gown we are going to DIY, and at the back is going to have a crisscross at the back. You can equally use a zip at the back, but the one we are going to DIY is going to have a crisscross. Also, on the down part of it, we are going to use the fish skirt to make the down part of it. You can equally use 6-piece skirt. All these two I've made a well detailed tutorial on how to achieve both fish and 6-piece skirt. I'll link it on the description box below. Check it out, draft it, and get the down part of this gown. I want us to concentrate on the upper part of it. I don't want this video to be too long. So guys, the corset we are going to use is the corset with yoke. That is the one we are going to use. I've made a well-detailed video on it, on how to achieve it. So I'm going to use this panel to cut out our materials. Then we will now start fixing them together. All these videos, I'm going to link it to the description box below so that you can check it out. I don't want this video to be too long, so that we now achieve what we want. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let us get into today's tutorial. Now guys, this is the corset pattern that we are going to use to achieve this gown that is on the screen. It is easy. Check out the drafting of this corset. It is very easy for you to achieve it. So now I'm going to use it to place it on my materials. This is the yoke, this is the side, and this is the center, and this is the bra. That is the cup that we are going to use today to achieve our panel. So guys, remember all this pattern, all this drafting, you are going to add half inch. Add half inch on them, and on this side you are going to add 3 inches. 3 inches on this side, that is the side, to achieve your measurement. So now I'm going to place it on my material, and I'll add half inch on both sides, and also add 3 inches on this side. And now, being that it's going to be a waist line, it's going to have a Basque waistline, while cutting, I'm going to add some inches on the length. I'll show it to you guys. Instead of stopping at my waist, I'll add about 2-3 inches so that we can be able to curve it out to get our curve. So guys, let me now place it on our material and I'll show it to you guys. Now guys, I have cut out our material by placing our draft on it and giving it half inch. Do you see it? The half inch seam allowance. All of it, I gave them half inch seam allowance. Then on this side, remember I said you have to add your normal allowance. I added 3 inches. Do you see it? I added 3 inches on it. And on this down part, because of the curving that we are going to do on the top to get our waistline, I added also 3 inches to it. That is what you are seeing now. Do you see it? And being that this is a velvet material, it stretches, so we are going to control the stretch by using an interfacing, a light one on it. When you now put interfacing on a velvet, it reduces the stretch so that you can achieve your purpose. So now I'm going to do that, and also I'm going to cut out the lining. After cutting out the lining, I'm going to pad these cups. Remember, it is a DIY, it's a self padding and not the breast cup that you can buy that is already made in the market. So now guys, having taken care of this, I'll set it aside to show to you guys how the back is going to be. Remember, it has a yoke. This is the one that we're going to use to cut out our yoke. So this is the back that we are going to use. This is the back that we are going to use. That is the back of the gown we are making. We are going to use this back to achieve our gown. So this is a back of a normal back, but it has a dart at the back. It has a back dart that is cut open. I made a video of this. It is there on my channel. You can check it out. It's also easy to achieve. So now we are going to cut it out with this, after which we fix it. We are going to now shape it to use our tulle to replace the upper part of it. As you can see on the screen, the back also has a tulle, a mesh tulle that is like skin. So we are going to do it after sewing it together. We are going to cut it open to achieve it. And remember, at this back, it's not going to have a zip, but it's going to have a ring hole pocher. That is what it's going to have. So we're not going to add seam allowance at the back. Instead, we are going to go in to take out some inches, which will be replaced with the pocher when we now achieve it. So guys, we are going to do it step by step so that this Christmas will all smile. So guys, let me now cut it out and I'll show it to you guys. Now guys, I have cut it out with the back panel. I have cut out the back panel. This is the back panel. Do you see? This is the side of it. Do you see it? That's the material we are using. That is the down part of it, and at the back, the front is going to have a velvet, while the back is going to be the full complete of the material. So this is the side. Remember, on the center back, I said it's not going to have zip, but a ring hole. So now, this is the zip allowance. Here is our zip allowance when we're making a normal, blouse. But now I folded it in. In that zip allowance, you have to fold it in. Do you see it? You have to fold it in. You don't need it. And from the main body, you have to go in also with 2 inches. So that is why it is a little bit smaller than the normal, because it's going to have a ring hole at the back. So now we came in by 2 inches. We didn't add the zip allowance, and from the main body, we went in by 2 inches, which will be replaced by the ring hole. When we now insert it and insert the ribbon or whatever stripe that we are going to use to tie it, is going to take control of this. So I now cut it out. Remember not to cut exactly the 2 inches that you take. Keep ½ inch to join the lining to it. So now that's the back, the center back of it, and that's the side back of it. So later we are going to join it together. I'm going to show to you guys how to join it. So I'm going to also use this now to cut out the lining. Then I'll come for us to start fixing our panels together. Now guys, I have cut out the lining, and also I've used interfacing to put on it. This is the center front. I've used the interfacing in all of them. So now guys, when cutting it out, remember to always keep your draft paper on it so that you don't make a mistake, and try to label it while drafting it. So now this is the parts that will be used for achieving our cup, and this is the center and the side, and this is the back panel. So every of them I have cut out their lining and also add interfacing to them. So the next thing now to do is to start fixing them together. Remember, this is the cup. We'll start with the cup. That's the lining of the cup. We keep it, and that's the main body. So now you take these two. This is the center, and this is the one that is on the side. You take it in this form. And also, you remember, I added wording to it so that it will also be strong. So now you take it and you fix it in this form. Do you see it? So I'm going to pin it down. Later, I'll take it to the machine to run it. So I pin this together. And also I pin on the downside of it. Do you see to it? So that is it. That's the first one. I've pinned it. And you take the second one. And you also pin it down. And you also pin at this end of it. So do you see it? So that's the two cups. After you have finished sewing these two, then now you will not use this for the upper part of it. So I'm going to take it to the machine now. Sew the cup. This is the back. I'll fix the back panel, and also the center, I will fix it. Then I'll show it to you guys. Now guys, I have attached our cups together. Do you see it? Now we have a very beautiful cup. Do you see it? I have attached them together. The next thing to do now is to attach it to the front panel. And the front panel, I have also joined them together. That's the front panel where we are going to now. This is the front panel where we are going to now join our cups. And before then, I joined boning to it. Do you see it? Do you see how to join this boning? I joined the boning without using casing or bias. I'm going to show to you guys how I did this. I'm going to show now guys. After fixing your panels together, just take your boning. That's the boning I'm using, and this method, it has to be the boning that can be sewed with a machine. So now on this side that you have joints, on these joints, you now take the allowance, that is where you joint, and you place your boning. Remember, don't place the boning exactly at the edge, because if you do that, it's going to disturb you from attaching your sleeve, attaching whatever that is coming up here. And also at the down part, just come down by 1/2 inch. And before then, make sure that you trim off your boning, that is going to be smooth. Do you see it? Make it to be smooth. Then on this allowance that you now sewed, on this allowance, place your boning close to the seam line. This is the seam line. Then place your boning like this, close to the seam line, and sew on the boning. Sew on the boning. After sewing it with the allowance which you use, do you see it? So if you place it, you will now sew it in this form. After sewing it, then you will now press it down. You now push it down to the body of the material, then sew closely to the stitch that you used to close it up. So now guys, let us sew it in the machine. So I've placed my material on the machine, and this is the seam line. That is the seam line, and I'll place my boning 1/2 inch away from the upper part of this top. So I place it in this form, then I'll sew on the boning. Just sew it straight and neat. Then I'll sew on it. Do you see it? Sew it closely. And coming down, you stop 1/2 inch away also in order to attach your peplon or gown or whatever you are making. Do you see it? I've attached it. Do you see, guys? On the front, you see nothing. Do you see it? It remains only the first stitch that you used to join the two panels together. So now the next thing to do is to push this boning to the side that you want it to be. Do you see it? You pushed it down. You now, after sewing it, you now pushed it down and you now stitch on it very close to the seam line. So we are going to do that now. So you continue sewing, just sew it straight and neat. So I have finished. Guys, do you see it? I've sewn. Do you see it? And on the back, you see nothing. Do you see it? The boning is right inside. Do you see it? So I've now attached the boning without using casing or bias. And it's only one line that you are going to see on the front of the panel. So now you can attach your cup. Now you can attach your cup. Do you see it? So I will attach this cup and I'll show it to you guys. So now the next thing to do is to attach our cup to the panel. So this is our cup. This side has to be, this side we have to, do you see it? And this side has to be in this form. So that is what we are going to do now. After attaching it, it's going to look like the lining. I've already attached the lining. Do you see the lining? Do you see how it is? This is how our cup is going to be after attaching it. So now, guys, let's go to the machine to attach our cup to our... Now, guys, first we are going to pin down our cup. So now, on this area that we sewed together, we are going to match it with this joint here also. So take your cup, open it up and place it here. You are going to sew it carefully. You are not going to rush it. Pin it down. Do you see it? So that you start sewing it. So now I'm going to take it to the machine to sew. So we are going to start sewing the cup to the body. Now, guys, I have attached our cup. Do you see it? Our cup has been fully attached. Now, guys, having fixed our cup, I will now use also the boning to also go round the cup. Do you see it? I'm going to place it also to go around the cup. I'm going to place it, also attach it to the allowance. After sewing it, then I'll press it down to sew it to the body of the corset. So now I'm going to do it and I'll show it to you guys. So now, having sewn it to the cup, do you see it? It makes it now to stand firm. Do you see it? I'm going to push it now down to cover it and to top stitch it. Now guys, do you see how it looks? Do you see it on the front part? Do you see it? So I'm going to do the same to this side, and then I'll show it to you guys. Now guys, do you see how beautiful it looks after adding the boning under the bra cup? Do you see how it looks? So beautiful. It makes it now to stand. Do you see it? So the next thing I have to do now, the back panel, I have joined them together. Do you see it? Now what we are going to do, we are going to now shape our back. We are going to shape our back the way we want it to be, and then we will now use it to cut out the yoke also. Remember, the yoke is going to be a tula. So now the back, here is our 2 inches that we are going to use as our ring hole. This is the 2 inches here. Do you see it? This is the 2 inches. Here will come the ring hole that we are going to punch open and to insert our ribbon. So now, where do we want our yoke at the back to start? I would like the yoke to start at 6. I would like it to start at 6 inches. That is here. So I'm going to now curve from this point from the armhole here. I'll go up 1 inch from the joining of the princess darts of the back panel. I'll go up by 1 inch. I'll go up by 1 inch. Why I'm going up by 1 inch, I'm adding also the ½ inch to join the yoke to the main body. So I'm going to curve it to this 6 inches here. So I'm going to curve it in this form. Do you see it? So I'm going to curve it in this form. I'm going to cut this side out. But before cutting it out, remember, we are going to have ring hole here. So it's not going to be in this form. So I'm going to also shape the neckline. I'm going to bring it down to this 6 inches also. Do you see it? So that's the neckline. I brought it out down to 6 inches. So I'm going to cut it out now. So this is how the back is going to be, the yoke of the back. So I'm going to cut out now. So remember, I'll cut out this. I'll take it to cut out the yoke. So now I will use this to cut out our yoke, which I will now join to this part. So that is the way we are going to achieve the back of this gown we are making. So this, I'll use it to cut out our yoke. So I will cut out the yoke of the front and the back panel. I will show it to you guys. Now, this is the tula that we are going to use to cut out our yoke. I folded it in 4 because I want to double it. That is why I fold it in 4. I don't want it to be single. So when I open it, it will be 2. So now I'll now take my drafted panel, that is the yoke. I place it on it. Just carefully place it on it. Remember, I'll add 1/2 inch. So I'll cut it. So now I'll take it up to add my 1/2 inch. So this is my 1/2 inch for the sewing to the body. Here is the 1/2 inch. Do you see it? This is my 1/2 inch. Then I will now cut it out. Also on this side, I left some inches. When I fix it and I don't need it, I will also cut it out. So now this is our yoke. Do you see it? So I'm going to take it to the machine to tidy up the neckline. So that's the yoke of the front. And let's cut the yoke of the back. I'll now place it to cut out our yoke. Remember, we are going to add 1/2 inch. We are going to add 1/2 inch to cut it out, both here and here. On this side, we are going to add 1/2 inch. On this side, we are going to add 1/2 inch. So now our yokes are ready. Do you see it? That's for the back and that's for the front. So I'm going to now take it to the machine, close it up, fix it in our top, and I'll show it to you guys before we are going to now achieve our crisscross that is on the front part of the gown that we are making. Now guys, this is the front panel. I have attached the back, but I want to show to you guys how I fix it. Do you see, after cutting out your yoke, then being a tuller, I had to stitch the yoke. I have to stitch it because it's double. So I now check the middle point of it. Do you see the middle point of the yoke and the middle point of the top? And I match it together and I use my pin to pin it down. Do you see it? Now I'm going to take also my lining. I'm going to take also my lining. Do you see the lining now? I'm going to also use the lining to cover it up. I'm going to cover it up in this form. Do you see it? So I'm going to cover it to use the lining to sew it up. So I'm going to do that. I'll take it to my machine, carefully sew it up. Just sew it. Also cover the sides. Then I'll show to you guys how it looks. Guys, I have joined the front and the back panel together with the lining. I've covered it. Do you see it? So that's our cup. Our gown is forming. Do you see how it is? So this is the front panel I've joined. So we are going to now shape it a little bit. Just put it together in this form, and from your waist, remember we added 2 inches to our half length in order to get the shape right. So just fold it in 2. Do you see it? You fold it in 2. That's the center point. So you fold it in 2. So take your tape Now put your tape on your half length. This is my this under bust, sorry. This is my under bust, and my under bust is 14. So I now put my tape here. Do you see it? It corresponds. So from here, I will now determine my length. Normally my half length is 16.5, but because of the inches we added, because we want to come down, it came to 20 inches. Do you see it? So now the next thing to do is just to mark it where we want it to be. So from this 17, I'll make use of 17 inches. From this 17 inches, I'll just cross it down to this edge. That is to the folded part. So just measure it in this form. Do you see it? So I'm going to cut out this. I'm going to cut it out now. Make sure it's equal. We are going to cut it out, and while cutting it out, remember to add ½ inch for your seam allowance. Open it up. Do you see it now? Do you see it now? We have achieved a little bit V on the front. Do you see it? This is our V. So I'm going to now take it to place on the front panel. So this is my front panel. I'll now take in my darts on my front panel. I'll take in the darts. After taking in the darts, I'll now place it. I'll come back for us to place it and to also achieve this V on the front. We are going to place it in this form. Do you see it? Just place it in this form and achieve our V, which we are going to join together. So let me take in my darts and I'll be back. Now guys, I have taken in my darts. Like I said, I've taken in my darts. Now I've placed, just take the skirt, that is the down part of the skirt you are making, place it on a good surface. Do you see it? Just place it on a good surface, like the way I now place it. Then take your blouse, that is the top, and place on it. Do you see it? I place it and I use pin to hold it. Let me show it to you guys. Do you see? That's the down part of it. I've taken in my darts. Do you see it? I've taken in my darts. Then I now place it. So I now take the top. This is the upper part of it, the front part. Just place it. Make sure you place it, giving ½ inch allowance. You place it. You can pin it down because it's a stretchy material. You can pin it down. Then on this part also, you pin it down here. Now you pin it down. Do you see it? So the next thing you have to do now is just to take your chalk, just trace the line. Do you see it? Just trace the V line that you have just marked on the skirt. Do you see it? Just trace it and then take away this. That is, take away the top. Do you see it? We have gotten our shape also on this down part of it. Now you have to cut it out, leaving ½ inch to join it to the blouse. So let's do that. Now you have cut it out. Do you see it? you now join it. Do you see it? So I'm going to now take it to the machine, join it, and also use the lining. This is the lining also. I'm going to use the lining also to turn it. After which, I will now join the front and the back panel together for us to achieve our crisscross drape on the front part of this blouse. And also, I've cut out the sleeve. The sleeve, I'm going to use the sleeve. I've cut out the sleeve. This is the sleeve of it. I'm also going to use the Mitch Tula also on the sleeve. Remember, we are going to use this design, these designs to patch on the sleeve, which I will do and also show to you guys. So now let's sew it up. This is the back panel. I've fixed the back panel and also achieved our crisscross at the back. Remember, we wanted to use eyelets, but because of the volume of the material we are using, I decided to use the crisscross. It's just the same. The eyelets like this, the eyelets is just to use a pin, but the crisscross, you now use your bias or your loop for it. So I have done it. I'll link the video on how I achieved this crisscross at the back on the description box below for you guys to check it. I don't want this particular video to be too long. That is why I did not show it. So now the back panel is ready. I also remember you have to also attach it to the down part of the gown we are making. But before then, remember to insert your zip. This is the zip. I just pin it down with the pin, which I'm going to go to the machine to sew it. So insert your zip before attaching the upper parts to the lower parts of the gown we are making. So now guys, I will now insert it. Then I'll use the front panel also to attach to it. That is cover both the front and the back panel. Then I'll show it to you guys. Guys, I have joined the front and the back together. This is the back and here is the front. Do you see it? I've joined them together, and also our sleeve. I've joined our sleeve together. So now our panels are fixed together, and at the down I've also hemmed it with horsehair because I want it to flow. You can decide to hem it without the horsehair, but I want to hem mine with horsehair. And I've made a video on how to use horsehair to beautify your flay or your 6 pieces or your fish skirt. So I have now done it on this. Do you see how it is? So the next thing now is to achieve our crisscross draping. That is the next thing. So having joined the front and the back together, I now measured my shape and I now shape it to my size. I will advise, if you are making this kind of cloth, first of all, fix your front and back panel together, join them together, take your shape, make sure that your material, that is the cloth you are making, that you have your right shape, because when you attach this draping, you are not going to start losing it. So make sure that the shape is okay. If it is yours, it's advisable to put it on. If it's for a client, make sure that you get the measurement right. So after you have closed it up, while closing it, where you have to attach your drape, keep it open. For instance, on the half length here, I kept it open till 2 inches below my hip line. So let us measure it. That is what we are going to use to cut out our pieces for the draping. So now, from this half length, 1 inch above the half length to 2 inches down, I have 10 inches. Do you see it? So I have 10 inches. That is what I have. That is what I'm going to use to cut out. But I'm going to add a little bit of material to fold it. You know, making a draping material, you have to fold it. That is why it is draping. You have to fold it to be beautiful. So I have my materials here. I've cut it out. The length I'm using, the length I cut out is by 22. But I'm going to trim it off when I finish putting it, inserting it. And the length, remember, is 10 inches. I added more 5 inches so that I can use it to make it to have a little bit of fold, to have a little bit of pleats. If you want, you can make it split. If you want, you can make it gathered. It is your choice. So now the next thing to do, remember it is a crisscross. So now I have gotten my shape, and this is where that we left open. Do you see it? On both sides is where we left open. The both sides is where I left open. So now I'll take my pieces for the draping. I've just placed it in this form. Do you see it? On this edge, fold it in. Just fold it in and place it exactly at your half length. Do you see it? And put it inside where that is open. Remember, you kept here open. By the side, you left it open. So you start pleating it. You just give it a pleat. Do you see it? Do you see what I'm doing? You just give it a pleat. Do you see it? Just little pleat and it will show. Just play with it. Do it in a way that is acceptable to you. The way that it makes it to look nice. Just play with it. Do you see it? That's the first one. Make sure the edges, you fold it inside. Do you see it? This is this side. You also put it here. You also put it here because here is open also. Do you see the first one? Just play with it. Just arrange it to look good. Do you see it? The first one is now well arranged. Then you pick up the second one. It's a crisscross. You pick it up in the same manner. You just also on this side, you fold it, the edges in. You put it inside. Also, you pleat it a little bit. You also put it inside. Remember, here is open. You also adjust on this other side and you put it open. Also, you put it inside. Do you see it? Do you see how beautiful it looks? You can make, if you like, here is a V. Do you see how I make it to have a V because it's a crisscross so that it will be noticeable? Do you see it? Just play with it, make it to look nice. Make it to be of your size. Do you see it? Now that you have shaped your clothes, you have shaped the dress you are making, you have your right shape. So you now place it. So whatever you place will be your real measurement. And make it to be a little bit tight. Do you see it, guys? Do you see how it is? Do you see it? Do you see how it is? So now that's the way to achieve the crisscross draping. Do you see it? Let me show to you guys. Do you see it? Do you see how it looks? So the next thing to do is just to take your pin, pin it down. Just take your pin, pin it down so that you can turn it. Just pin it. Just pin it down so that when you now turn it, it's not going to shift. Do you see it? Just play with it. Make it the way it looks beautiful. Do you see it, guys? Do you see it? So now I'm going to take it to the machine to sew it. I'm going to turn it. I'll sew it and I'll show it to you guys. After sewing it, remember on the one that is on the screen, I will now cut out. I'll take the pieces. I'll cut out some old patches to place on the sleeve. I've joined the sleeve like I showed to you guys. I'll place it on the sleeve here, like it's on the one that we are making. Place it here, and also on the shoulder I'll place it with gum, with a fabric gum. I'll also place one here, which after doing it I'll show it to you guys. I have closed up the two sides where we insert our draping. I've closed it up. Do you see how it looks now? So beautiful. And on the bust, I use some patches to patch on the cup to look more beautiful, to close up the black lines like you can see here. Like the lines, the black lines, I use the patches to close it up to make it look beautiful. You can do it or you can decide to leave it in that form. And also, I use patches on the shoulder, and on the sleeve, I also use patches on it so that it will look like the one we are trying to replicate. And this is the back. Remember, the back is a criss-cross. Like I said, you can add safety pin to it. Yeah, pressing button pin to it here before you start making your criss-cross at the back, and also the zip. So now I'm going to put this gown on the mannequin for us to see how it looks. Really, it is heavy because of the material. It looks so beautiful. Do you see it with the criss-cross? I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Looking forward to put it on. So guys, I'll put it on the mannequin for us to see how it looks. Now guys, this is the outcome of the gown we have just DIY. Do you see how beautiful it is? And this is the down part of it. Do you see it? So beautiful. This is also the back side of it with the criss-cross. And this is the down part of it at the back with the tail. It has also a tail at the back. Do you see how beautiful this gown is? Do you see it? So lovely and beautiful. Now guys, this is our gown. So beautiful. If this tutorial on how to achieve this beautiful gown has been helpful to you, don't forget to like, share and comment on my videos. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Iconic IJ, on Instagram, IJ Designs, and on our new page, IJ Iconic Fashion. Support me by lifting this channel to the permanent site. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.